Once again, you wake up not knowing what you're going to wake up to in the morning, and unfortunately we have gotten used to waking up to these types of breaking news events.
He's arguing that the wave of outrage blanketing the world is inflaming and expanding the cancel culture. It's a phenomenon, as you know, where vocals seek to remove anyone and anything they disagree with. Not debate it, just cancel and remove.
All right, now put your face right over the bowl.
What is art and what is objectionable is often subjective, seen through the lens of our own experiences.
Mammy, here's for Scarlet's Pickles. You can take it all back to the kitchen. I won't need to buy it.
We're not clones. We're supposed to disagree. That's what a pluralistic society does. But what we're not supposed to do is dispose of each other because we disagree.
It is the American way. And it may sound cold or callous to put it that way, but who can argue with that? Who dare argue with that? It is the American way.
Overnight in Minnesota.
8 people were killed at a FedEx facility in Indianapolis, marking the country's 45th mass shooting in a month.
Or what? What are you going to do?
In the now viral video, for over 2 minutes, Pentland is seen berating the man for walking in the neighborhood.
You either walk away or I'm going to carry you out of here. What do you want to do?
He demands to know where the young man lives.
Where? Where's your house?
And after repeated threats, gets physical.
You better walk away. You walk away. You talking to my wife right now.
Many are expecting more unrest in the Minneapolis suburb, and a state of emergency has been declared.
You're right. It is the American way. I mean, it's there's no other way to say it, because this is what's happening in this country. It's not happening around the world. You look at other places, Norway, Japan, Canada, right to our north. They don't have these issues, not by a long shot.
We are back with some breaking news. There were reports of an active shooter reported in the Arboretum area.
Manhunt underway in Austin, Texas tonight after a man shot 3 people dead.
Again, a recap of the breaking news this hour coming from the U.S. state. At least 3 people have been killed in another shooting in the U.S. state of Wisconsin.
Raising the alarm after a string of multiple mass shootings nationwide.
Another one. How many do we have this year?
147 this year. 612 last year, 424 last year. Mass shootings, not people dead, just the incident itself. Just the incident itself. It's getting to a point where we played that last clip before the woman of that guy describing what happened, and he was describing a movie.
That's what I noticed.
No affect.
Nothing.
Yes.
Hey, there's a guy there. He was dead. He went and got another gun. Thanks for the interview. I'm gonna go get a slice of pizza.
I saw that.
That's how numb we are in America to this.
Now, as the United States grapples with the pandemic, capable of killing hundreds in a day, the gradual return to normalcy brings the ghosts of America's past back to life. Mass shootings have started to make headlines again.
It's remarkable, and it seems the last few weeks we've just turned a page on a new event every single couple of days.
As I mentioned off the top tonight, there is another scene unfolding at this hour, another deadly school shooting, this time at a high school in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Tonight, unspeakable tragedy.
There's nothing about this right now that makes sense to any of us.
Police say former NFL player Philip Adams.
Former NFL football player Philip Adams is suspected of killing 5 people in South Carolina and then killing himself.
And over 45 incidents in just over 30 days. You heard that right.
It is a national embarrassment what's going on. And it's not only these mass shootings that are occurring. Every single day, there's a mass shooting in the United States.
Now, the police fatal shooting of a 13-year-old boy in Chicago. Police body camera footage showing Adam Toledo with his hands in the air when he was killed. Protests and outrage overnight. We do want to warn you that this video is difficult to watch.
Why am I being treated like this? Why?
You're not cooperating. Get on the ground.
He was released with no charges and is suing police. In a statement, Windsor Police announced that Officer Joe Gutierrez has been fired.
Get out. Please relax.
Get out of the car right now. Now.
This is not how you treat a vet. I'm actively serving this country, and this is how you're going to treat me? I didn't do anything. Whoa, hold on. What's going on?
Rioting again in the US in a number of cities, and Portland is the epicenter of a lot of the trouble. Violent clashes, looting, arson. I think we've got footage here of the Apple store in Portland, as you can see there, on fire.
That's not what America's supposed to be about, but that's what America is right now. And then Sharon, if you really break it down, we got all these issues. We got so many issues in this country.
Cancel culture, you hear it spoken about a lot. Destroying our society, cancel culture. That was a headline today in the newspapers of an article written by my next guest, Tom Switzer.
Ordinary people make sense of what seems to be the craziest of times. As Zoolander once said, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. You see, over the past year, our nation has shifted from a relative state of stability and prosperity to one of increasingly deeply divided, polarized, chaotic, oxymoronic world where we're all left wondering if we haven't slipped into the latest episode of Stranger Things. It's a world that the prophet Isaiah said in Isaiah 5:20. He says that people will call evil good and they'll call good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. That he said you have to understand that in the end times, the oxymoronic distortion of language will be common. It'll be the nature of the times. A world where even the most obvious and universally accepted facts are turned on their heads by what were once reliable sources. As Chesterton warned so many decades ago, he said, when the unthinkable becomes debatable, it soon will become acceptable. And so things that just a few decades ago were just unthinkable, and we would say, well, that would never happen. And we're seeing it happen and having spoken of as if it's normal.
As more and more painters, writers, musicians, and filmmakers are unmasked as bad actors, we're forced to reconsider their work. Calling out artists and performers on the internet hasn't just shamed them, it has significantly damaged careers and reputations. Louis C.K. has been dropped by HBO, FX, and Netflix. Actor Johnny Depp lost lucrative movie deals after a very public legal battle over domestic violence allegations.
Now, we're not going to sit here and tell you guys how great we are. You're going to do it.
And ABC canceled TV star Roseanne Barr's highly rated television show after a tweet many considered racist.
We have to get away from this angel-devil view of humanity.
Professor Ross says can have unintended consequences.
More interested in the United States and Britain than it is even here. I mean, in the aftermath of the death of George Floyd, it's really become an orthodoxy now in America, so much so that when a distinguished Chicago University economist tweeted that the Black Lives Matter movement had hurt their cause by supporting calls to defund the police, he incited an online mob, and it culminated in his losing a contract with the Federal Reserve of Chicago. It's shocking. Shortly afterwards, a Boeing executive was forced to resign because Twitter found an article that he'd written in 1987 when he was at university that said that women should not serve in military combat. So the danger in this cancel culture is not just going after people you disagree with, but banishing them from polite society and the national consciousness. And as I say, it's much worse in America than it is here, but it is happening here, and we've seen examples of just simple things like the names of products like Coon cheese being changed, and now more recently there's a campaign to change the name of the Great Aussie Ice Cream Gay Time because apparently it's harmful towards people of homosexual orientation. I mean, this is madness.
What happened, I mean, you and I are about the same vintage, right? What happened to when we were growing up? If you disagree with someone, you wanted to marshal the arguments and you take them on intellectually. What happened to wanting to have the debate? We're not even prepared now to have the debate.
They're not interested in debate, and they're far from tolerant. And that's why we have this cancel culture, which I fear is only going to get worse, particularly in Western countries.